Okay, we are back, and we are down to the final 5 cases of supernatural investigations. This will be number 26. Death at a funeral. Oh boy. Welcome, Matthew, to the Between Dimension. Wow, Matthew, in all my years dealing with the supernatural, I've never seen anything like this place. Don't worry, I've taken my true demonic form and am prepared to defend you at the first sign of danger. Matthew, looks like the Queen's cage is still closed. That's where we last left off on. Not for long, we have the final key. The final lock will be opened. Reggie, no! Matthew, this isn't good at all. Oh my God! Lily, is that you? Jacob. It has been so long, my darling. Talk me through what happened again, Ben. I can't wrap my head around it. We managed to rescue Hope, but not before the demons used her as the final key to free their queen from her cage. And when the demon queen appeared, she was the spitting image of Jake's wife. Right, but the chief's wife was killed by a vampire 25 years ago, so it can't actually be her, can it? No, I mean, I don't know. I saw Lily's body all those years ago, and she was definitely dead. All I know is that Jake's inconsolable, and to make matters worse, he blames himself for what happened with Hope. He thinks if he'd stopped her from running away, she wouldn't have fallen into the demon's clutches. How is Hope doing anyway? She hasn't woken up yet, but according to Arthur Darkwood, time and rest should be enough for her to make a full recovery. Matthew, I've been thinking, and I know what we need to do. We need to go to South Carolina and dig up my wife's grave. I need to see if her body is still there to know that if that thing really was her. Was really her. Jake, are you sure? My mind's made up. Pack your bags, we're hitting the road. Matthew, I still can't wrap my head around the idea that the Demon Queen is free. She could punch a hole in the veil between our world and the Netherworld at any moment. The chief's tasked us with securing a perimeter around his wife's grave so that we can exhume her body, assuming it's still there. Shush, guys. I saw a sign on the way asking for quiet. Apparently a burial is taking place for some guy called Larry Zaris. We better wait until the interment is over and the guests are gone before we do anything. Let's hope. Matthew, did you hear that? We need to see what's going on. Where am I? What was I doing in a coffin? Larry, you're alive, but you were dead. Dead, but... Matthew, this man needs medical help. I'll clear the guests from the area while you and Luke examine him. Matthew, this funeral guest, he's dead. And judging by the greenish tint to his skin, I'd say he was poisoned. So the person being buried came back to life, just as one of the guests dropped dead? Trust us to stumble on a murder when we've already got a job to do. Right, digging up the chief's wife's grave will have to wait, because we need to solve the supernatural snafu. Agreed. I've already rounded up the other guests in the church to avoid a mass panic. I'll get Gwen to keep an eye on them while I get the body back to base. Alright, time to get down to work, Matthew. Let's start by examining that torn fabric you picked up, and then we need to talk to the guy who rose from the dead. Talk to Larry Zarus, whatever. I'm sorry if I startled you guys earlier. Were you guests at my funeral? I don't recognize you. We're investigators. We specialize in the extraordinary, and your resurrection caught our attention. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. One minute the car Bernie and I were in was about to crash, and the next I woke up in a coffin. It must be this resurrection talisman I bought off the internet that brought me back to life. Before you say anything, I know it sounds crazy, but I've always been paranoid about my own mortality, and the site promised a full refund if it didn't work. Anyway, how's Bernie doing? I can't believe he fainted after seeing me come back to life. Mr. Zaros, I'm afraid Bernie didn't faint. He died after ingesting a fatal dose of poison. You're telling me Bernie was murdered? This doesn't make any sense. 20 years we've been in business together, and I never heard Bernie Silverman say a bad word about anyone. Who would have wanted to kill him? Let me know if there's anything I can do to help your investigation, Matthew. In the meantime, I better go give my guests an explanation. You'll find them in the church. We'll accompany you there so we can take a look around. I've been to my fair share of funerals. My last one was 2018. Flowers are a clue too. And I shoot right up to the top. So this is the church where Larry's funeral took place, Matthew. There's a good chance that Bernie's killer was among the funeral guests, which means we better treat them all as suspects. So let's examine the clues. That's clearly a photo of Larry. Let's see if it can ID the guy next to him. And I wonder why that tag you found on the flowers has Bernie's name on it. Can you recover the text? As for that handbag, it must belong to one of the attendees. Let's see what secrets it's hiding. I'll get the torn fabric first since I have another star. Well, looks like a shirt. Oh no, it's a glove. This glove looks like something a pallbearer might wear, man. And look, there's a name inside. If this B. Lomax was at the funeral, then we need to know what he saw. Beauregard Lomax, okay. Well, right now, we need to pause here so I can get some more stars. Sit tight, everyone. We got all the remaining stars. I'm up to 23 stars. Let's talk to Beauregard Lomax. Mr. Lomax, we believe this glove belongs to you. Thanks, man. I must have lost it in the commotion after that Larry guy sprung out of his coffin. In all my years as an undertaker, I've never nearly buried someone alive before. It's like something out of that animal graveyard book. So you're the funeral director who organized Larry's funeral. That's right. And let me tell you, this whole thing is highly irregular. I just hope I'm still getting paid. Though I did hear a rumor that somebody else dropped dead as we were being herded into the church. I didn't see anything myself, but maybe I can slip somebody my business card. Ah, there you are. A name bracelet. The bracelet you found in that handbag has a name on it, Matthew. Can you make out the faded writing? V. Silverman. This bracelet belongs to a V. Silverman. Didn't Larry say that was our victim's surname, Matthew? The owner of this bracelet must be a relative. We'd better inform her of Bernie's death. Vicky Silverman, okay. You guys haven't seen my dad, have you? I lost him in the confusion. Your dad's name doesn't happen to be Bernie, does it? Yes, that's it. If you were at Larry's funeral, then you must have met him. Larry's like family to us. That's why my dad and I organized the funeral and hosted the viewing at our house. Dad must be so relieved that Larry's alive. Miss Silverman, I'm afraid your father has been murdered. Matthew and I are investigating his death. My dad is dead? No, you must be mistaken. I can't have gotten Larry back just to lose my dad. Whoa. Mysterious note. Matthew, you recovered the writing on that note on the flowers, but I can't make head or tail of it. It looks like it's in, like, Elvish or something. Felix will be able to tell us what the note says. Requiescat, I know is rest in peace. But that's not rest in peace. Rest in Inferno. Rest in Inferno looks like rest in hell. Ugh. Jonathan Zaros. Must be his dad or something. Alright, we've got an idea on the guy on the photo with Larry Zaros. It's his brother, Jonathan. Let's ask this Jonathan what he knows about the victim, Matthew. Drinks are on me tonight, everybody. Excuse me, are you Jonathan Zaros? I am the happiest guy in the world right now. That's who I am. My brother is alive, and we're going to party. Oh wait, you're not one of Bernie's relatives, are you? No, but we're investigating his murder. Did you witness the victim's death? No, but Larry filled me in. He's devastated to have lost his closest friend. Today's been a whirlwind of emotions, Matthew, but I've still got cause to celebrate. I don't know if I'd celebrate. If one guy dies, one guy comes back to life, and the other drops dead. I'll let these two run their courses, so for now, this is Matthew. I'll see you soon when these two are done. I've gotten all stars. I'm down to 16. I'll see y'all soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the mysterious note from Felix. Guys, thanks for sending me this note. It was a welcome distraction from thinking about how the Demon Queen could punch a hole in the veil between our worlds at any time. Not to mention that it's been a while since I put my Latin to the test. Right, the note was in Latin. I knew that. Was it definitely from our killer? For sure. Whoever wrote this note knew that Bernie was going to die today, because the writing is based on a Christian prayer urging God to let the deceased rest in peace. But they changed the prayer to wish for Bernie to rest in hell. Matthew, this is evidence that your killer knows Latin. Well, this Latin-speaking killer had better pray for their own future now that Matthew's on the case. Matthew, I told Jake what went down at the cemetery. He ain't pleased about the delay, but he agrees that we've got no choice but to investigate. Now on to your victim. Your hunch was right. He was poisoned. And thanks to the crumbs under his fingernails, I can tell you that your murder weapon was a black cherry pie laced with a poison called ethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol? That's antifreeze, right? Yep, it's almost guaranteed to cause death if treatment isn't administered right away. But what's more is that I found another substance on those crumbs under your victim's nails. Hay fever medication. Your victim didn't have any allergies, so it must be your killer who left their hay fever meds on the poison pie. So our killer suffers from hay fever, do they? I'll make a note of it. Matthew, we came to South Carolina to exhume the chief's wife after discovering that the Demon Queen is a dead ringer for her. We don't know how the Queen came to resemble Lily or what she'll do now that she's free from her cage. But before we can learn more, we need to figure out who poisoned Bernie Silverman. Larry Zaros, who gave us all a shock by rising from the dead just moments before Bernie collapsed, was upset by his longtime business partner's demise. Larry's brother Jonathan was so overjoyed by his sibling returning to life that he barely seemed to register Bernie's murder. While Bernie's daughter Vicky was understandably devastated by her father's death. Matthew, we have a problem. Larry is being mobbed in the church. Oh boy, this train just keeps on giving. And I'll see you guys for Chapter 2 of Death at a Funeral. Alright, it's now time for Chapter 2 of Death at a Funeral. Matthew, we have a problem. I stepped out of church for a minute to check on Tilly, and when I got back, Larry was being mobbed by the funeral guests. Oh man, Matthew, we better go and save him. Larry, please, my arthritis flare-ups are terrible, and my acne just won't go away. What's going on here? They've convinced themselves that I've got magical healing powers, all because I came back from the dead. Oh boy. Let us touch you. Alright, listen up everybody. We're, cops. And if you don't stop hassling Mr. Zaris, we'll take all of you into custody. Phew. Thanks for that, Matthew. And since you're here, I might have a lead. I overheard some of the guests talking, and apparently my wake took place at Bernie's house. You might want to take a look. Thanks for the tip-off. Matthew, let's search Bernie's house. Okay. I gotta say, this is one time where rising from the dead is either good or very bad. Got it. So this is Bernie's house, Matthew. It's still set up for Larry's wake from this morning. I can't imagine how the guests feel. It must be a roller coaster of emotions, mourning someone only for them to come back to life a few hours later. And now a whole new set of people will be mourning Bernie's death, And they deserve answers only we can give them. Let's put those broken pieces back together before we look through those cushions. Moment, folks. Alright. I got all 5 stars. Got it. Men's boxers. Matthew, what the heck were these boxers doing under all of those cushions? Let's just get the boxers to Priya. She'll tell us who they belong to. Okay, 12 hours. Now the broken pieces. Got it. This seems to be a sculpture of Larry, Matthew. It's a pretty tacky gift for a wake. Whatever happened to just giving flowers? Anyhow, apparently it came from someone called Marilyn. If she was here, she must have met the victim. Let's question her. Marilyn Bullock. No relation to Sandra Bullock. Or even Greg Bullock, who plays Lieutenant Stone on Power Rangers back in the 90s. Excuse me, are you Marilyn? Excuse me, my hay fever is terrible today. It must be the flowers at Larry's funeral that set me off. Looks like I'll have another funeral to attend soon too. I can't quite wrap my head around the fact that Bernie's gone. He always seems larger than life, you know. So you were close to both Larry and the victim. That's right. Bernie and I have been next door neighbors for years. And since Bernie was like Larry's second home, we became friends too. Anyway, I must go offer my condolences to Bernie's daughter. She must be heartbroken. I'll let the boxers run their course. For now, this is Matthew. I'll see you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the men's boxers. Let's see what Priya's got. Hey Matthew, Tilly here has been helping me keep an eye on Hope. She's not awake yet, but hopefully she'll come around soon. Nice one, Tilly Wings. Now run along, because we've got adult stuff to talk about. So did you manage to ID the owner of those boxer shorts we found at the victim's house, Priya? I sure did. Thanks to the presence of skin cells on the boxers, I can tell you that they belong to Larry Zaras. Larry Zaras? What were his boxers doing stuffed behind a bunch of cushions at Bernie's place? It's time for another chat with Larry, Matthew. Oh hey Matthew, did you check out my wake? I heard some of the guests complaining that Bernie skimped on the canapes. Apparently there were no prayers in Latin at the funeral either. My brother and I are fluent, so I would have expected... Mr. Zaris, we need to stop you there. Can you explain what your boxers were doing on Bernie's porch? Oh, you found those. Well, I guess there's no longer any need to keep it a secret. I was having an affair with Bernie's wife, Clarissa. Jonathan told me she was heartbroken by my death. Apparently she had to check herself into a wellness retreat in Hawaii to hide her grief from Bernie. I wouldn't wish what happened to Bernie on anyone, but now Clarissa and I can finally build a life together. How convenient. Especially since nobody can attest to the fact that you really were lying dead in the morgue all this time, and now we know you have the perfect motive and alibi to have killed Bernie. Matthew, another look around the cemetery which should shed more light on Bernie's murder. Let's go. Back to the first crime scene. Okay. There we go. 2 clues there. Whoa! Check out this drawing, Matthew. That's our victim, dead. And there's something scrawled next to the drawing. Tell anyone and you'll end up like this. This is clearly a threat against our victim's life, Matthew. Collecting a sample of that substance might lead us to the culprit. And this locked container has a weird design. It seems to be a cat paw rising from the ground. You're right. This container could have something to do with Larry's resurrection. Let's get it unlocked. Get this thing unlocked first. Okay, 16611. strange container contains some pills, Matthew. Could these be hay fever pills from our killer? Priya will know. Let's send the container to her. White liquid has been collected. Let's get that sample from the threatening drawing under the microscope. Embalming fluid. Matthew, this liquid you collected from that drawing is embalming fluid. Only one person we've met would be in contact with embalming fluid, the funeral director. But why would Beauregard Lomax have done this drawing of Bernie? Let's find out. Ran out of film time, but I've got a fresh 10 minutes. Let's talk to Beauregard Lomax right now. Mr. Lomax, can you explain why you drew Bernie in a coffin? Heh, where did you find that? Look, man, I'll be honest with you. This funeral director business ain't easy. I had to invest in a bunch of Latin classes just to be able to follow the services. And keeping my allergies at bay cost me a fortune in hay fever meds because there are flowers literally everywhere. Sometimes I cut a few corners to keep my head above water, so sue me. So Bernie had discovered you were cutting corners, is that it? He learned that I was reusing coffins. I'm not proud of it, but once all the guests have gone, I dig up the coffin and rebury the body without it. And then I reuse the coffin for the next burial. It would have sounded the death knell for my funeral parlor if word had got out. That's why I sent Bernie that drawing. If we learn you went further than just threatening Bernie, it'll cost you more than your business, Mr. Lomax. And I'll let the box of pills run its course, so for now, this is Matthew. I'll see you soon. Let's get the box of pills results. Hey Priya, any updates on Hope? Is she awake yet? Nope, Sleeping Beauty is still snoozing. Being used as a key to open the Demon Queen's cage must have really taken it out of her. Anyway, demon problems aside, I'm sure you want to hear about the container you sent me.
I can confirm that the pills are hay fever medication. I checked with Ben and they matched the brand found under your victim's fingernails. So that container definitely belongs to our killer. Yep. And according to Felix, the container itself is a clue. Let's hear it, Felix. Hey guys, Priya had me give this container a once-over, and I recognized the design immediately. It matches the classic 80s horror novel written by Kevin Bing, Animal Graveyard. I did a bit of research, and this container was given away with a special collector's edition of the book. Matthew, your killer is a fan of Animal Graveyard. So our killer has read Animal Graveyard, have they? They'll have plenty of time for reading in prison. And you're right, Matthew. Beauregard Lomax mentioned Animal Graveyard earlier. I'll note it down. Let's recap. We came here to dig up the body of the chief's wife, Lily Arrow, because the Demon Queen, who is now free, looks exactly like her. We need to establish whether it's just an illusion or whether she's actually occupying Lily's body. So first we need to figure out who murdered Bernie Silverman with the poisoned pie. We know that Larry, the victim's business partner who rose from the dead, was having an affair with Bernie's wife. Larry insists that he lay dead in the morgue between the car accident and the burial, meaning that he couldn't have poisoned Bernie. But can we trust him? And then there's the funeral director, who threatened Bernie after he uncovered his unsavory business practices. Matthew, you need to come quickly. It's the chief. He says he's seen his wife. Oh gosh. We'll get to chapter 3 after this. Alright, let's start chapter 3 now, A Death at a Funeral. I think we last left off... Yeah, here. What? Quick, Matthew, we need to see what's going on. Chief, what's going on? It wasn't her, Matthew. It looked like Lily from behind, but it wasn't her. Oh, Jake, why don't we get you back to camp? Matthew, I'll take things from here. I feel terrible for the chief, Matthew. The sooner we can exhume his wife's grave, the better. But we need to wrap up this case first. Let's take another look around Bernie's house. Unfortunately, it seems that my allergies are starting to flare up again. I don't know why. As you can tell, my nose has been incredibly itchy. sorry for Bernie. Imagine hosting a wake for your best friend, not knowing that he'd been cheating with your wife. Anyway, what clues have you found? Bingo! This is a recipe for black cherry pie. We know our victim was poisoned with cherry pie. Could our killer have left this recipe here? We better vacuum up that substance to find out. And the victim's cell phone is sure to give us a lead, if you can crack the password. Those pieces of metal could be useful too. I'll grab the tape. That was easy. The last thing the victim did on his cell phone was comment on a buzzer post from Jonathan Zaris. Look, that's Jonathan showing off in a fancy car. And Bernie commented, "Don't act like you bought that with your money." Jonathan Zaris never mentioned any issues with Bernie earlier, Matthew. Let's question him again. Phew! The excitement of today has tired me out, Matthew. The last time I felt so many emotions in one day was when I forgot my hay fever pills on a school trip. My symptoms were so bad, I had to stay on the bus with a copy of Animal Graveyard while everyone else was out having fun. Fascinating as all that is, we have some questions for you, like why did Bernie leave this angry message on your buzzer post? Ugh, I should have known you'd find out about that. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. Bernie was just miffed because when Larry died, I went on a spending spree with his company credit card. But grief affects us all in different ways, Matthew. Some people find comfort in therapy. I find comfort in material objects. Bernie didn't understand that. In fact, he threatened to call the cops on me if I didn't hand over Larry's credit card. But now Bernie's dead while I have my brother back and in brand new force. Life couldn't be better. I hope that's not something I have, hay fever. We can't be sure that whoever this pie recipe belongs to is the one who poisoned Bernie, but identifying them would be a good start. Let's get that powder to Priya. Matthew, this is a high school valedictorian medal belonging to Vicky Silverman, our victim's daughter. How does something with so much sentimental value end up broken? Let's ask Vicky. I'm sorry for losing it earlier, Matthew. My dad wouldn't have wanted me to crumble like that. You had a difficult day, but I'm afraid we have some questions about how your valedictorian medal ended up broken. Of course. Well, the first thing to know is that I was a model student all throughout high school. My severe hay fever didn't stop me from writing the best essay on Animal Graveyard in my school's history or excelling in Latin class. But when I got to college, I discovered other interests, like going out and meeting guys. Bit by bit, my grades started slipping and now I'm flunking my master's. My dad was furious when he found out. So that's when your dad broke your medal. Yes, he couldn't understand that I wasn't his goody two-shoes little girl anymore. But now I wish he was still here to tell me off. That's gonna do. I'll see you guys when the orange powder has run its course. I'll probably have all stars collected by then. We'll see what happens. For now, this is Matthew. I'll see you soon.
Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the orange powder. I'm starting to worry about Hope, Matthew. I know Arthur Darkwood said she just needed time and rest, but it's been almost 24 hours. I'm worried about the chief too. I can hardly imagine what he's going through, seeing the Demon Queen looking like his wife. But we can get to the bottom of that as soon as we've wrapped up this case. What can you tell us about that substance Matthew collected from the cherry pie recipe? The substance was Root Touch-Up, a temporary hair dye used to disguise regrowth in between dye jobs. And the color was an exact match for one of your suspects, Marilyn Bullock. And what's more, Ben confirmed that the recipe was an exact match for the pie that your victim was poisoned with. So Marilyn made the cherry pie that was used to poison the victim? But was she the one who actually poisoned it? We need to question Marilyn. Miss Bullock, can you confirm that this cherry pie recipe belongs to you? Oh yes, the recipe is a hand-me-down from my late grandmother, who taught me how to bake. Baking's my therapy, Matthew. All that kneading and mixing, and then you get to settle down with a great book while it's in the oven. Animal Graveyard is my current favorite. I made a cherry pie just this morning, in fact, for Larry's wake. Miss Bullock, what would you say if we told you that somebody laced that cherry pie with antifreeze before giving it to Bernie? My pie was used to kill Bernie? I don't know anything about any antifreeze, Matthew, I swear. I ate a slice myself and it was totally fine. Alright, we believe you, for now, but the evidence will speak for itself. Matthew, we're getting closer to catching Bernie's killer, but who did it? Was it the victim's daughter who argued with her father over her falling grades? Or was it Jonathan Zaras, who Bernie had discovered was exploiting the company credit card his brother had left him? And then there's Bernie's neighbor Marilyn. We know she made the pie that killed Bernie, but we can't be sure she's the one who poisoned it. Okay, let's take another look around the church and wrap this up so we can get back to why we came here, Matthew. got it. Quick, Matthew, what have you found that might lead us to Bernie's killer? I wager that bottle of antifreeze is the one that was used to poison Bernie. Can you collect some of that liquid on it? And we might find a clue hidden among that church equipment if we rummage through it. One final push and we'll have Bernie's killer in our grasp, Matthew. Let's get to it. Animal Graveyard. This book was out of place among those Bibles and stuff. And look, it's a copy of Animal Graveyard, the book that our killer reads. We better get this book to Felix. He'll know if it's the killer's or not. Looks like I might unlock the final crime scene in the additional investigation. Wouldn't be the first time we did that. We did that in the Travel in Time finale. Alright, let's get that substance from the killer's antifreeze bottle to Priya, Matthew. And I'll see you guys when these two are finished. So long for now. Alright. We have returned. Let's get the results of the Animal Graveyard book first, and let's put a killer behind bars. Matthew, I'll get straight to the point. This copy of Animal Graveyard is definitely your killer's. How can you be so certain? Priya confirmed that there were traces of the killer's hay fever medication on the book. And that's not all, because I found a loose petal from a red rose inside the cover. Judging by its freshness, I'd say your killer dropped this petal today, which means that they'll be wearing a red rose. Alright, so we're looking for a killer sporting a red rose. You're about to nip their criminal career in the bud, Matthew. Matthew, Hope's condition is really starting to worry me. What if she doesn't wake up? We can't think like that, Priya. We've got to stay positive, especially for the chief's sake. Now, what have you got on that substance Matthew collected from the killer's antifreeze? The substance was a mix of isopropyl alcohol and water, otherwise known as lens cleaner for eyeglasses. Your victim had 20/20 vision, so it must be your killer who wears glasses. Alright, our killer has glasses, Matthew. Their lenses might be clean, but their conscience certainly isn't. Matthew, Bernie Silverman's killer has eluded us for long enough. It's time to bring them to justice so we can get back to what we came here to do. It's not Larry Zaras. And it's not Beauregard Lomax. It's not Jonathan Zaras. And it's certainly not Marilyn Bullock. Oh, would you look at that? It was Vicky Silverman. Vicky Silverman, you put on a good act, but all the evidence points to you. You're the one who killed your father. Is this some kind of sick joke, Matthew? My dad meant the world to me. Why would I have killed him? You tell us, but what we do know is that you laced a slice of cherry pie with antifreeze at Larry's wake this morning. You then gave that pie to your father, knowing full well that it would be fatal. What we don't know is why you did it, and how does it tie in with Larry coming back to life? Were you in on that too? Hardly. Larry coming back to life ruined everything. Alright, you got me, Matthew. I did kill my dad, and I killed Larry too. What? But Larry died in a car accident. That was no accident. It was all part of my plan to wipe out Larry and my dad. See, I waited until Larry came over to pick up my dad one day, and while he was in the house, I cut the brakes on his car. It was the perfect plan to eliminate both of them, or it would have been if my dad hadn't miraculously survived. So that's when you decided to poison him, is that it? Yes, I managed to convince Marilyn to make my dad's favorite cherry pie for the wake. I knew he wouldn't be able to resist, so I offered to go get him a slice and added the extra special ingredient before I gave it to him. Everything was going perfectly to plan until Larry came back from the freaking dead at his own funeral. Sounds like you had it all thought out, but you still haven't told us why you were so desperate to get rid of Larry and your dad. I spent my whole life trying to live up to my dad's expectations, trying to emulate the success that came so easily to him. But when I got to college, I realized that no matter how hard I tried, it'd never be enough for him. I got depressed and my grades started slipping, and that's when my dad told me I might as well drop out and start working as a receptionist for his company. But I'm worth so much more than that, Matthew. I knew that if I had the chance, I could lead the company better than him or Larry. I just had to get rid of them first. Now you'll never get that chance because I'm afraid you'll need to answer to the authorities for your crimes. Matthew, when we came to South Carolina, I never expected we'd witness a resurrection and a murder take place within seconds of one another. But now that we've transferred Vicky Silverman over to the authorities for the murder of her father, we can turn our attention back to why we're here. We need to... Matthew, it's Hope! She's taken a turn for the worse! Oh boy. We'll see if we can save Hope in Beyond the Veil 1-5. Don't go anywhere. Alright, let's start Beyond the Veil 1-5. Matthew, now that we've passed Vicky Silverman over to the authorities for her father's murder, we can turn our attention back to the real reason we're here. We need to figure out why the newly freed Demon Queen looks like the Chief's deceased wife. About that, Matthew, I need a word with you and Luke. I'm afraid that I'll have to wait. Hope's taking a turn for the worse. Matthew, take Felix and go talk to Ben. I'll be waiting here with Luke when you're done. What's going on, Ben? Matthew said something about Hope? Yes, I was keeping an eye on Hope's vital signs and her condition suddenly deteriorated. What? But Darkwood says she just needed time and rest after the demons used her to free their queen. I managed to get a hold of Arthur and he said he must have been mistaken. He thinks Hope being used as a key has put her in some kind of magical coma. He started explaining that a magical illness needs a magical cure, and that the first thing we need is holy water. But then he got cut off and I haven't been able to contact him since. But we can't sit around waiting for Darkwood to swoop in and save the day. The church should have holy water, Matthew. Let's grab some cash for a cab. And we still haven't unlocked the last crime scene, surprisingly. Water dispenser. Matthew, I can scarcely believe my eyes, but you found a holy water dispenser. It's turned off, but we desperately need that holy water to cure Hope. Can you get it unlocked? Yes, got it. Great, you got that holy water dispenser open and collected a sample, Matthew. There's no time to lose. We need to get that holy water back to my lab and figure out the next step to curing Hope. Matthew, I've thought about it, and I can't do it. I can't dig up Lily's body. Chief, I know this is difficult, but you're the one who decided we needed to exhume your wife's body in the first place. We need to find out whether Lily was possessed by the Demon Queen, or if the resemblance is just some kind of illusion. Look, kid, after Lily died, the image of her lifeless body haunted me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her pale face and the puncture marks on her neck. It was a long time before I could get that image out of my head and start picturing her as she was when she was alive. So even though I hope against hope that her body is in that coffin and hasn't been possessed by the Demon Queen, I can't risk going back down that hole if I see her lifeless body again. I realize this is a lot to put on you and Luke, Matthew, but could the two of you take care of it? Of course, Chief. Matthew, it's time to do what we came here for. We need to exhume Lily's grave. Phew! I haven't been to the gym in a while, and it shows. Sorry, Matthew, I say stupid stuff when I'm nervous. We've got Lily's coffin out of the ground. I guess all that's left to do is open it. Here it goes. we go. Crowbar. Silicone handkerchief. And I'm going to get the first star. Matthew, Lily's coffin is empty. Her body is gone. Oh God, what does this mean? Could it really be that the Demon Queen is inhabiting Lily's body? And if so, why choose her? We have so many questions and no answers. Our only potential lead is that crowbar you found in the coffin. Whoever removed the body must have used that crowbar to pry the casket open. Maybe collecting a sample of that dirt will give us a lead. Got it. We need to get this dirt from the crowbar you found in Lily's coffin to Priya, and let's not mention anything to the chief until we know what we're dealing with. Alright, 6 hours. I'll see you guys when these two are finished. Don't go anywhere, folks. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the dirt. Matthew, I don't know how much more our team can take. First Hope, and now this? The chief is going to be devastated when he learns that Lily's body is gone. I know. I just hope we can at least offer him some information on what happened. Did that dirt from the crowbar offer any leads? The substance was soil, which we can assume was deposited on the crowbar at the moment the grave was robbed. Soil has a unique chemical composition, dependent on a variety of factors such as location and recent weather events. This particular sample had high sediment deposits, notably increased levels of nitrogen and phosphorus, consistent with flash flooding. But the microbial organisms in the sample were in poor condition, suggesting that the flooding was followed by a severe heat wave. Such weather is atypical for South Carolina, so I checked local meteorological records and discovered that there's only been one flash flood followed by a heat wave in the past 50 years. And it took place exactly 1 week after the chief's wife died. So you're saying that Lily's grave was disturbed precisely 1 week after her death? Matthew, I think it's time we updated the chief on all this. Give it to me straight, Matthew. Did you find Lily's body? No, her casket was empty. I'm so sorry, Chief. We do have a lead on what happened, though. We discovered that Lily's grave was disturbed exactly 1 week after her death. This is a lot to take in, Matthew. To think that I've been visiting an empty grave for the past 25 years. And why would the Demon Queen pick my wife when there was a whole cemetery full of corpses to choose from? That we don't know. It's impossible to say why she was chosen, or even whether she was taken by the Demon Queen or someone else entirely. Matthew, I need some time alone to think. I'll see you later. Now the holy water. Matthew, I think I've got it. I know how to cure hope. See, I was sure I'd seen holy water mentioned as a part of a restorative ritual for magical afflictions in one of my books. It took me a while to find it, but it was in Gaimon's History of Magical Maladies. Gaimon speaks of a woman who had fallen into a magic-induced slumber from which nobody could awake her. That is, until she was administered holy water by an individual who encountered death and lived to tell the tale. And lucky for us, you have a suspect who cheated death, Larry Zaras. Quick, Matthew, let's go ask Larry if he's willing to administer this holy water to Hope. Mr. Zaras, I'm sorry to disturb you, but we have a favor to ask. Anything for you guys. I'm just so thankful that Matthew caught Vicky. Who knows if she'd have made another attempt on my life if you hadn't locked her up, and my resurrection talisman might not have worked a second time. That's kind of why we wanted to talk to you. Our friend is desperately ill, and she needs to be administered holy water by somebody who has cheated death. Of course, it's the least I can do to thank Matthew. But before we go, I need a favor. I lost my resurrection talisman in the commotion after I came back to life. I don't dare leave this cemetery until I found it. Oh man, we so don't have time for this. Matthew, if anyone can find that talisman quickly, it's you. Let's grab a snack to keep our energy up and then search this cemetery. And you mentioned cheating death. I happen to know that there's someone in motocross who has done that not once but twice, and that's Robbie Madison. When he jumped up the Arc de Triomphe in Vegas, and even did that, and even jumped that football field. This looks like my talisman, but it's broken. Luckily for us, Matthew has a special talent for putting things back together. Now let's get to work on that talisman so we can save Hope. You weren't kidding, Matthew. My talisman looks good as new. Alright, now you've got your talisman, we need you to administer this holy water to our friend Hope. Matthew, is that you? It's alright, Hope. You're home. Holy cow, it worked, Matthew. I feel like a superhero or something. Thanks for your help, Larry. We'll take it from here. Matthew, it's all starting to come back to me. The kidnapping, Whoa, Hope, take it slow. Let's make sure you're okay first. Then we can talk about what happened. Okay, let's talk to Hope. I feel so guilty, Matthew. If I hadn't run away, maybe none of this would have happened. You were the final key to the Demon Queen's cage, Hope. The demons would have found you sooner or later. Perhaps. I was just so scared when I realized that the Rathimiel we were investigating was actually my guardian, Bob Nelson. It felt like my whole life was a lie, and it made me feel like I couldn't trust anyone. But now, because of me, the Demon Queen is free and could punch a hole in the veil at any moment. Don't be so hard on yourself, Hope. You've been through a horrible ordeal, being kidnapped and transported to a different dimension. Honestly, it's all a bit of a blur. I just remember walking down the street when suddenly everything went black. After that, I drifted in and out of consciousness, but I could tell I was somewhere unfamiliar. And there were demons all around me. I couldn't really tell what they were saying, but I did hear one name repeated over and over again. Smuggler's Cove Lighthouse. From the little I could make out, the Smuggler's Cove Lighthouse seems to be some kind of demon portal. Matthew, this lighthouse sounds like it could be a good lead, if I can locate it. I'll catch up with you guys once I have more info, but in the meantime, take this. Hope, you're awake! I'm so happy you're okay! So, you guys aren't mad at me or anything? Of course not, Hope. If anything, I owe you an apology. I never should have pulled a gun on you. I hope you can forgive me. Consider it done, Chief. Matthew, our team has been through a lot recently. We've got Hope back, but we also discovered that my wife's corpse is gone. I hope the Demon Queen's appearance was an illusion, but now it seems more and more certain that she's inhabiting Lily's body. We can't be sure why Lily was chosen, but one thing is clear, we need to learn more. Matthew, I finally got an address for that lighthouse Hope said. Doubling up as a demon portal. It's in Georgia. Then that's where we're heading next. Matthew, we're off to Georgia. Let's take a look at this. And nothing in there I want. April 16th, that's another Thursday. Still under the pandemic right now of coronavirus. But that's not stopping me from doing these cases. Another 5. Another 5. I didn't have a sweep. 3 new ones this time. Alright. And that's going to do... And that'll do. And I'll be seeing you guys on April 16th. For now, this is Matthew. Thank you for watching, and we're coming close to the end of Supernatural Investigations.